Kapow! Hello and welcome to Stanchion Snack. So it's International Week, which gives me the opportunity to do something a little bit different for you guys today. So this is going to be the first in a collection of side dishes for you. So we're going to start with this onion, and what we're going to make today is some onion rings battered with beer. Today I'm using this M&S Belgian lager. Now, on my way back from Watford last week, I stopped at Birmingham train station and bought myself a little 4-pack. Now, I live about an hour away from Birmingham, which is a 2-tin journey, really. So I've got a couple left over, so that's what we're going to be using. And today we're going to be making a Beernaise, not a Béarnaise, a Beernaise, which is a fantastic sauce that uses beer and then it is emulsified with butter. So pretty easy, pretty simple. So we're going to start by cutting this onion into some rings. Now, any scrappy bits I'm just going to throw into that pan there, and I'm cutting these, you know, relatively thick. This isn't a sort of cut as thin as you can kind of situation. So then the middle bits we're just going to push out. And we're going to then separate them into rings like this. Any small pieces that will go in our pan. And then anything sort of bigger than that, I'm just going to pop into this tub. And we're just going to pour a bit of milk into there, just to cover the onions. So the next thing I'm going to start is our Beernaise, which is a derivative of a hollandaise. It's some kind of a reduction, and then it's butter and it's emulsified together. So the first thing we need to do is just get some butter on melting. So this is about 100 grams of salted butter, and we're just going to put that on a very low heat. Onion trimmings that we've got. I'm just going to run a little knife through here, but you could just break these up with your hands. It doesn't really matter because we are going to strain this afterwards. So that's going to go into this pan here, and then we're going to add some parsley stalks and some peppercorns, or I'm just going to whack some cracked black pepper in there. Now, normally you would add vinegar and you would reduce your vinegar down at this point, but because this is a Beernaise, we are going to be adding beer. So not too much of this, maybe sort of a couple of tablespoons there, and we're going to reduce that down by half. So we can put that on quite a high heat, so we've just got that there.
Oh, what a header! What a goal for Ricky Lambert! What an arrival on the international scene! It's a fairy tale!
So this beer has now reduced by about half, so I'm just going to pull that off, just place that on the side there, stay in that pan for now. And then the butter, this is clarifying. So we're just waiting for all of the sort of scum at the bottom to rise to the top. So this is now getting to a point where what we are going to do, I'm just going to pass this through a sieve, and you'll notice all this sort of white scum will stay in the sieve, and we don't want to pour the very last bit in. The very last bit is the buttermilk, which is, you'll see in a minute. So we're catching this scum that's risen to the top, and then that last little bit there we don't want to keep, and then we end up with this lovely clarified butter. So back into that very same pan, I boiled this kettle a little while ago, and we're just gonna put enough water in there. We just want to create steam, so we don't want this bowl to sit in the water, and then when it's coming up and it's steaming, I'll turn that down so that we don't burn the outside of the bowl with this flame. And into this bowl we're going to add 2 egg yolks. So these are quite small egg yolks. If they were larger egg yolks, you could probably use one. And we're just going to now whisk this until it goes a real pale yellow, until it doubles in size. You don't want too much heat, so you want to sort of keep it on here. If you get really good at this and you really understand cooking, I have known people, when I have in the past, if I'm in the shit, so to speak,
How long?
just done this with a metal bowl directly onto the hob. Now this is the minimum amount of hollandaise or béarnaise or béarnaise you'll ever make. Generally in a kitchen for a service I would do a 7 yolks, 700 grams of butter. Now you can't rush this or you'll end up with scrambled eggs. You just have to take your time. However, we are somewhat at the mercy of the butter, because if the butter goes too cold, we'll be in trouble. And you want what is known as ribbon stage, where it starts to leave a pattern in the egg. If your arm gets tired, switch. So I've just pulled it off the heat now, because we've got a bit more of a stable service, and we've definitely got enough steam and heat coming from the water there, so it doesn't have to be on the hob all the time. If you've got a friend, you would get them to help pour this in for you. I don't have a friend today. I'm doing this one on my own. But again, take your time, don't rush this, a little bit at a time. And if you notice it starts to get a little too thick, either you can add a little bit of the boiling water underneath you, or if it's still warm enough, you can just now start to add a little bit of this reduction. I'm going to add all the butter. We'll check the consistency, and we may be able to add a bit more reduction. We'll also give it a taste. So if you've ever wanted to make eggs Benedict or eggs Florentine or Royale, that's all you need to do. Although you would reduce vinegar instead of beer. I actually will usually, if I'm having eggs Benedict at home, I'll normally reduce a little bit of champagne down, because then you've got a bottle of champagne open first thing in the morning. Maybe another little drip of that. I just want to get the right consistency. Wow, that is absolutely delicious. I was thinking it might need a sort of, just a little pinch there of Maldon's. That's all I use. I was thinking it might need a little touch of sort of vinegar or lemon, something sort of acidic, which is what we normally put in, but I think the reduction of the beer has just given us that. It's absolutely lovely. And I'm going to leave it like that now, and I'll just put a plate or something like that just on the top there, just to stop it drying out and to stop it getting too cold. Whilst we've got this lovely shot on the go, I'll make our beer batter for our onions. So when it comes to, I quite like this, having this microphone on. I can walk all the way over to the fridge and you can still hear me. Look, I'm over, there's the fridge door opening. Look, I'm even, look, I'm in the living room now. Even though I'm at the piano, you can still hear me because I've got this lovely microphone on. So, out of the fridge, I'm going to get some of this beer, which is lovely and cold. And we'll take maybe about this much. And the rest of that. So maybe a little bit of pepper. God, it's actually very nice, this beer. A little bit of salt. I only use Maldon's. And we always add and maybe a little bit of baking powder just to help really sort of bring this to life. A little pinch there. And then flour wise, you can use whatever you like. I'm going to use a bit of 00, this pasta flour here, also from M&S. And you always add the dry to the wet when it comes to batter. And I could have sieved this, but as it's 00, I don't think I need to. And I don't want this to be too thick. And until we're ready to use it, I'm going to keep that in the fridge because it needs to stay nice and cold. But there we go, there's our batter. Our hollandaise is pretty much made. I'm feeling like I miss you guys, so I'm going to come off this shot and go back to the one I was on. Okay, so it's business time. It's time to start finishing everything off. I've got a pan of hot oil just on the back here, which is currently on 200 degrees, which is absolutely perfect because we want to cook these onion rings at about 180. So as soon as we add the onion rings to it, it's probably going to bring the temperature down by about 20 degrees. So I'm just going to drink this beer. Superb. So, batter from the fridge. Although I'm in the fridge, you can hear me. Our onions here that have been soaking in the milk. Here is our flour. Behind us is our batter. We might need a little bit more flour than this, but we'll see. And we'll just for now do like maybe 5 of these. So 1, 2, 5 or 6. There we go. And we just want to coat these completely in the flour. And again, this is 00, a nice sort of soft flour. I'm going to place them into our nice cold batter. Again, one at a time. And we'll just give them a little swill around, make sure they're all nicely coated. And then I'm going to go over to the deep fat fryer and fry them over there. So here we go. And I'm going to put them in one at a time. So there we have our beautiful onion rings out of the fryer. I'm a little seasoned. I only use Maldon's. And whilst they're cooling down, we will just finish off this béarnaise. So, béarnaise. Béarnaise sounds like a Jamaican saying béarnaise, I guess. So, some parsley, a little bit of chopped parsley there, and some chives. I'm going to keep a little bit back for presentation, he says, as he chucks it all in. And we'll just give that a little fold through. So now we've got this lovely herby mix. And just a drop it more the reduction there because it's thickened, and we can just slack it down. That's going to go into here. Well, there you have it, people. That is Stanchion Snacks. Let's have a little taste, but before we do, we better crack another one of these open. These little onion rings, that one, it's almost like a little disc. We've got the batter in the middle there. Let's try it in some of this beautiful béarnaise, one of my favourite sauces. Look at it. Perfect consistency. Give it a go. I was originally going to make a mayonnaise for this, but when I cut my onion rings in practice and I had the little middle bits, I was like, oh, I need to use these somehow. So I thought I'll reduce them down in something, and a béarnaise is just as good as a hollandaise. And a béarnaise, and we're using all the beer there. Look at that. Honestly, I think these are the best onion rings I've ever made. Well, there we go, guys. Thank you very much for watching the first of a little range of sides. I'll try bang out a few of these videos in and amongst my usual ones. With it being International Week, it gave me the opportunity to do something a little bit different, and I'm really glad I did. Please do try that sauce. Again, it's very adaptable. You don't have to reduce beer down. You can reduce wine down or vinegar for your hollandaises, things to go with your steak. I would recommend this with steak, though. The little beeriness is absolutely delicious. And again, do try these onion rings as well. Look, that one's not even a ring, but these are absolutely excellent. Please do like and subscribe. Subscribing is the only way either of us are going to make any money from this. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much, guys.